driveway because there's a flood there. You know, if you drive by and drop your kids off, you'll see it. If you want to rent a home in this place, there should be rules and regulations. I'm paying as much taxes for my home on Erie Street as everybody else in this community. And just because it's good for you, and maybe your block's okay right now, mine is miserable, and we're getting nothing done. Nothing done at all. And it saddens me. I mean, I'm sitting there in a house where I can't even stand to live. I've got two neighbors on the other side of me that can't stand it anymore. I've got an old gentleman that's been here forever, and every one of you know him, and he's had it and can't stand it. Do something for us. You know, I know there's a lot of good and positive things that have been done. If I didn't think that they were done, it wouldn't have been the village that I would have chosen. But this town, whether it's poor, whether economy's bad, or whether you're all fighting, needs to take pride in themselves. We need to care about how the next block looks, what people are putting up with, if we're safe, and just stop the fighting. I mean, a vote is a vote. They're in. Let's try to give them a chance, believe in them, hope that everybody can come together, and maybe people will start listening. So when we call Jackie, she has it documented, and she knows what's going on, and she knows what she's doing, and you get little feedback. You know, I never heard anything back. For the cars that are all over the back of the driveway, I've got mud all over the back, they drive in and out. I'm miserable. A hole in the middle of the driveway. You've got them parked out on the street all night long. Where are the renter's rights for this town? There's a window up above that you guys have driven by for I don't know how long that is nailed and pounded up. And nothing's done with it. If it was another community by now, some of that would be taken care of, or as renters, they wouldn't be able to rent that home. You know, so, you know, there's a lot of things that need to be done to make the village look better. Please.
Before we go on, I think we've taken a lot of notes, and I'm sure everybody else has, but I think that there's a time to respond at the meeting. We've added that, and we can kind of catch up on a lot of that stuff.
Doug, we can't hear you back
Oh,
there.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to bother you, but
No,
we
please
can't.
do. Please do.
You told me to tell you.
We want to be informal. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, there's a place at the end of the meeting where we're going to go around and we're going to make comments. We've all taken notes. Pardon me?
Not tonight.
Not tonight. Okay, it's not on the agenda. All right. Catch me later. It looks like we missed a little chance to get caught up.
Okay, on the agenda, we're done with public input inquiry. We're going to go down to number 1, which is legal counsel. And I would like to make the motion to hire Jack Belzer as our attorney. I need a second for that, and then we can open it up for discussion if you want.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second on that. Any discussion?
Yes. Okay. I don't really have a problem with Jack Belzer. I don't really know the gentleman, but I do think that and it's been mentioned here several times, I do think it's the proper thing to do is have Jack come to a meeting, and also I think it's a proper thing to do is to get information a couple other attorneys that do work in municipalities, and some do work in municipalities, maybe more than one, and contact these people and see if they're interested in representing the village. If they are, then I think we should get information, and at that point in time, we can take a look at it and see who we think would be the best candidate, and then also have the gentlemen come to the meeting. After all, they are going to be paid by us, so we ought to know who it is that we're paying. And that just makes sense to me to do that. Few of you people know who Jack Belser is. I have no clue who he is, other than the fact he must live in Grambling. And there's other gentlemen out there that have all kinds of experience, and we could probably get some names of a couple other people just to see if they're interested, and if they are, send us information about their experience working for municipalities, and give us more information about who we would like to hire. I mean, our current attorney, who everybody on this board knows except maybe the two other fellows, has been our attorney for 20 years. And he knows a whole lot about what's going on in this village. And that's worth dollars right there. But I think that's a proper thing to do. I'm not against a new attorney. What I am against is hiring one that I have no idea who he is. And that's not, I'm responsible as a board member to make good decisions. And to me, it'd be a poor decision to hire somebody that I don't even know who he is. I've never seen a resume. I've never seen anything. For all I know, he represents Mundy Township, I believe. And last month might have been his first month. I have no clue. That's pretty what I have to say.
I have a couple of comments. First of all, somebody mentioned, oops, sorry. I'd kind of like to take the price issue first and just get that buried. I don't want the cheapest doctor working on my kids, so, put it out in the paper and find a cheaper attorney. I'd rather find a good attorney. Now, we had a meeting. We talked about Mr. Belzer, and there was an opportunity to do some investigating, and evidently that wasn't done. We did, you missed an opportunity. The name was there. I did my homework.
You should have brought it to the board.
Pardon me?
You should have brought it to the board. You said you collected information, give it to the board.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry, I
everybody
did my
can see it.
homework, yeah. Okay.
And that meeting was null and void, so then it shouldn't count.
Yeah, but his name did come up, and there was an opportunity that to either come out for him or come out against him, and obviously you come out against him, and there was an opportunity to look up and to investigate. Can you tell me that didn't happen?
Doug,
Yeah.
do you know when the meetings are at Mundy Township?
Pardon me?
Do you know when Mundy Township holds their meetings?
Yeah, I've got it written down. I believe.
Is
I
it
can't quote
the second Monday
I
and
can't-
fourth Monday?
I can't quote you because I don't have that in front
Well,
of me.
then he could
Yeah, I
never
did.
come to one of our meetings, correct?
You can, yes.
Yeah.
But he's there, he's supposed to be at every one of their meetings.
But this
He's not.
attorney, he has his partner that will cover for him there. And we also have that.
Partner?
Jack Belzer has not a partner, but he has someone that works with him.
You mean Jack would never be here?
Yes, he would. Yes. Yes, he would.
Does Jack do heavy litigation? I was told that he farms it out for $200 to $250 an hour. Is that true?
You know what, Mr. Belzer, when he is going to be invited here, because he received this fax from Miss Sidge telling him that he was not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So that's why,
Well, why would we want to hire him before we interview him? I think we should interview him and then decide, make a motion to hire him. You're trying to hire him before this board, with all these people sitting here saying, wait a minute, step back and look at it.
I understand.
And that could be a very costly mistake, because you go from Jack to McKinney, and you fire McKinney, and they gotta work 20 hours together to get caught up on all this, and then they have to go down, he has to go down to Wade Trim and work 10 hours. McKinney might say, you fired me, I'm charging you $250 an hour, and you're gonna pay it. I would. I would give you a break. You're looking at $10,000 to $25,000 possibly to change, to go into this lawsuit, but if you're not prepared, you could lose. And we need to be prepared, even though it shouldn't be, but if you're not prepared, you can lose.
I understand.
Especially in front of our arbitrators. Because if you don't look good, you say, well, maybe you do owe him some money.
You see him, is he coming? Yeah.
And to say McKinney only charges 110, he might not be the best. You people have never dealt with him. We've had him on 3 lawsuits in the last 3 years, and we've won them all, thanks to McKinney. Against Oakland. He wouldn't tear it down, he took it to court, he won that one. I mean, he has saved us some money.
What, Jackie, I kind of bring me up to speed on the lawsuit that we're in now. What's the, I'm sorry, what's the name of the, I was asked a question about 5 minutes before we sat down here. What's the name of the company bringing the action against the village?
Graham Construction.
Graham? Okay. I asked.
Any other questions? Mr. Jackson, you have any discussion?
I really believe the legal thing should be tabled until we have an interview. I make a motion to be tabled until we have an interview with the lawyer, or all the people here
There's
can.
still a motion on the table, you have to wait, there's a motion on the table.
I guess my point, and I think this is something we all know, is that if we were talking about the state of Michigan and we just changed governors, and that means we changed political groups, and they've made massive changes in their new government. No one has gone and had a fit about our former governor, because when you change parties, the Republicans, the Democrats, it's a change, and the new people who are in power have the right to make the changes they want, and that's what we wanted to do. Now, I bring your question there about McKinney. I'm not sure, I don't understand why that wasn't brought up at the last meeting. I never heard one word from you about how great he was. Not one word.
That's because you blindsided us.
You knew we had the right to do it. You absolutely knew.
You added it to the agenda after we got here. We were in shock.
That's not true.
It is true.
Yes, we had.
It is true.
I apologize.
You can't remember back that far? It's only been 2 weeks.
Well, we just sat here, the whole 80% of the people in here just sat back and said, we need to think about this, we need to review it,
We're
and not
done
even.
with public input. I'm sorry. We're done with that. Mr. Jackson, is there any more that you want to add?
No, not at this time.
Okay. At this time, we do have a motion on the floor. I do want to say that Mr. Belzer is, and I understand Mr. Mooring and Mr. Horton's concern over Mr. Belzer. I did receive a fax that was faxed to Mr. Belzer himself regarding his employment because of the meeting that was null and void. I personally would like to recommend Mr. Belzer as our village attorney. I do think that it is going to be a change for people who are not in agreement with it, but I do believe that Mr. Belzer is going to be able to represent us. I look to the right of me and I look at 2 other gentlemen, and I look to the left of me and I understand what you're saying. I'm listening. I do know that for us to continue on and to get this on the road to move this along And because the motion was made, I want this motion, and I have a second on it. I'd like to take it to a vote to hire Mr. Belzer.
Can't you wait 2 weeks?
Nothing about it.
Roll call. Maureen.
No.
Wortella.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Horton.
No.
McAbey.
Yes.
Oh, you're kidding.
I want to go to the next item
How
on
many people hire people
on
without an
the
interview?
agenda called, it's a code enforcer. That was on the agenda also. We do have applications that we are reviewing, and I do know that we are also going to have on the agenda the independent study. I'd like to,
Can I have timeout?
sure.
Could you please be quiet? It's your warning.
The code enforcer applications we do have, but I do want to make a motion to have the code enforcer, I would like to suggest, but on an interim basis until the study is completed. The motion I'd like to do is to discuss hiring somebody on an interim basis until the study is done and we evaluate jobs and the work associated with it. Hopefully the study may tell us how to combine positions with other jobs. The study may even recommend contracting the work out to reduce cost. Policy and procedure for code enforcement, I really strongly suggest, after reviewing it yesterday, needs to be reviewed. And also there's possible, I'd like to review the job instructions for this position, and it needs to be evaluated to see if any changes to this position. And I know there's a lot of work ahead of us with that position. I know we do need a code enforcer in place. I know that it's necessary, and I'd like to make a motion to hire a code enforcer, and my recommendation from the evaluation, or from the applications that I reviewed yesterday, for an interim basis, to offer it to Matt Hart of Atlas Township. Is there a second?
I'll second for discussion. Well, I'm sorry.
Go.
Well,
You
at
wanna
what
bring it up?
cost? At what cost?
It was advertised.
But he
Did you
didn't
get
put
it?
any cost on his thing. He didn't put down what he was going to charge.
I'm gonna offer it to him and
At what
ask.
cost?
We had a $9 to $11 an hour rate on that. Did we miss it?
He makes 35 and 25 in the township.
Well, I'm going according to what we advertised, Mr. Moore.
But he didn't put it down there. He knew what it was advertised. He put down no cost.
Right.
But, during this interim period, he's not gonna be doing anything anyhow. Is that correct?
He will be a code enforcer for that time period until the
But only
study.
upon our call.
It's, the job description itself states that he works 40 hours per month.
I have quite a few questions. We got this packet yesterday, and I think we need to look at everybody, and interview everybody. Sorry, Tom. Yeah, I don't think we can make a decision until we do we had some good applicants. We had some very good applicants. But I think there's a lot that's going to come out when we do the study, and I don't think it's right to hire anybody and then turn it right around and tell them that the study says one thing or another. And I think that's why an interim. But at this point, nobody has been eliminated. I think everybody's still in this. But it's It's one of our biggest problems that we've had, obviously. How many calls will we get from now until whenever the studies? That's a good question.
Actually, if you don't have one, it's up to the mayor or the president of the council to take care of it until one's put in place. But what I don't understand here, and I want the folks to try to explain it to me, we're going to interview for $11 an hour code enforcer, but they just hired an attorney that nobody knows about. It's correct.
Can I just say that for a second? 'Cause I didn't know. Just so the public knows, Doug McAbee and I met at 3 o'clock yesterday, and the part-time code enforcement officer, it was advertised, and it was advertised, I can read the advertisement here. It says, "The Village of Goodrich has an immediate opening for a part-time code enforcement officer. This position involves working with the public to enforce village codes and ordinances. Primary duties include initiating compliance actions, maintaining records, preparing reports, and making court appearances when necessary. Applicants must possess a high school diploma or its equivalent and preferably have a municipal code enforcement or closely related field involving investigations of complaints and enforcement of regulatory codes. Salary is $9 to $11 per hour, depending upon the experience and qualifications. Maximum 40 hours per month." That's what was in the paper, and that's the applicants that we received, but like Mr. McAbee said, we have not interviewed anybody. You weren't here, Jackie, when we were at the office, and I do have a question for you. Is it necessary, and I want to bring this up because I thought it to be very important to have someone as an interim basis, to have them as a code enforcer. We've been without one since the resignation of Bill Conway, so.
What's your question?
What, do you think it's important?
I think if you look around the village, you can tell already that there's cars parked on the plaza, there's signs that aren't supposed to be out there, there's a need for it. I don't agree with your recommendation on who you want to hire when we have other applicants that are very well qualified. I think that they need to be interviewed.
Well, could we
The process should have been handled by an appointment from the council, not just you and Mr. McAfee doing it.
say that again?
The council should have directed somebody to do these review processes. That wasn't a decision that would
I really
be made by you two.
But wasn't that asked by, I'm just bringing this up to you. When we offered to go through those applicants, when we talked to you, we scheduled that appointment on the 22nd.
I don't control you.
No, we asked you, and you said...
No, you didn't ask me. I said that somebody needs to be appointed to do that, to go through them and call them out, separate the ones that have qualifications from the ones that don't. And you and Mr. McAfee took it upon yourself to do that. It should have been a decision by council as to who's going to be the personnel committee or whatever. You've been on the council for 5 years.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have.
Listen, Ms. Sedge, the question I have for you, though, is the interim basis, though, if we were able to vote on this, then the individual, would you be able to contact him? And
No, you're not doing it correctly.
Ms. Sedge, I'm asking you, though. I'm asking you.
You want me to contact Mr. Hart and tell him he has an interim job?
If we vote on it, I'm just asking you, though, is that would be a position that would be what you would do as a village administrator?
Mr. Hart should be interviewed with the rest of the people.
Okay.
You've got two weeks for another meeting.
I understand. Don't get upset.
We can
I'm
only
just
get
talking.
5 more cars parked down there before 2 weeks, and we've gone this long. What's 2 more weeks?
I understand.
Let's bring it back to the next meeting and
I understand, and I'm not going to do, I'm just asking some
You
questions.
need to
Let's not
appoint
get
people
upset.
from the council to do the interview process
I understand.
with me involved in it.
That's why I brought it up for discussion.
Right. I wanted, and that was, I thought maybe the urgency of us reviewing those applications on the 30th, or on the 29th, and for this, because of the special meeting, that this was something that was urgent. That's why I asked you the importance of it, so. I wanted,
Yes, I'm not understanding.
I wanted to find that out from your standpoint. With that being said, then, what I could do, we could table that, and then what we will do is on the December 13th meeting, then we will have the applicants that we have, and we could have had that interview process
You need
completed.
to set a committee of two to do this
Right.
interview process
I'm just-
prior to the meeting on the 13th.
Okay. What I'd like to do then is rescind that motion, and then just table the code enforcer position until the December 13th meeting, and then I can make that motion. I will. I would like to make a motion to table the code enforcer position till December 13th, 2010. And I want to add to something, add this, we're going to have to appoint a couple of people then to look at that, look at those applications again that we went through.
Yeah, with all of us receiving the package, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that we schedule the interviewing process, so I'm going to direct, like, we're going to do a roll call vote too, right?
She's not gonna let you forget.
No. Okay, so we're going to take a roll call vote on the motion to table the code enforcer position until we have the interviews.
Menke,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.